Hello everyone, welcome to the October 2022 episode of Onward Lebanon. Onward Lebanon is a television show airing on Lebanon Channel 6, and it highlights our viewers with an insight into Lebanon City Schools, our staff, our students, and our programming. I'm Isaac Sievers, the Superintendent of Lebanon City Schools, and I'm excited to join you in this programming each month to talk about the amazing programs and people that make Lebanon City Schools a great place to work and to learn. At Lebanon City Schools, our mission is building community. And one of those ways that we build community is within our buildings, with our staff and our students, but also out in the greater community of Lebanon and Warren County. One of those statements in our mission statement is we strengthen the Lebanon City and Warren County communities as we prepare graduates for careers and college. We partner with community leaders, nonprofit organizations, business owners, and area colleges and universities. It's not only what happens inside of our school buildings, but also what we're doing to impact the greater community at large. And I'm excited today to be joined by a program that's thriving at Lebanon High School and an excellent example of what it looks like to build community with the community at large. Service Learning is a class that started 8 years ago at Lebanon High School. It combines student learning with service to the community in ways that improve both the student and improve our community by serving nonprofit organizations, fundraising, drawing attention and awareness to their programming. It started as a passion project, something that was brought to Lebanon schools and schools in Warren County and the greater region by a philanthropist. We'll talk about him a little bit later in the programming, but it gets our students engaged in community-based service learning projects. It's an awesome opportunity for them to see what happens in the community when people draw their attention, their focus, and their priorities in a certain direction. And it provides professional and leadership skills for our students and have the opportunity to earn graduate careers and credentials and seals. So this is a program that was created by Mrs. Libby Turpin. We're going to be joined by her today, and it's give us opportunities for students to serve in groups in the community. And we have several staff members and students today with us that we're going to talk about this importance of this program. And so welcome to Lebanon, Onward Lebanon channel. I'm excited that you're here. Our high school service learning class is taught by Miss Libby Turpin. Welcome, Mrs. Turpin.
Thank you.
And several students from this year's class are here as well. We have Evan Wilnow, who's a senior at Lebanon High School. Grace Flora, you're a junior, correct, Grace?
Yes.
And then we also have Joe Tippenauer, who is a junior at Lebanon High School. Welcome to the show this morning, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And we just want to discuss the program, what you're getting out of the program, some successes over the last 7 or 8 years with you, Mrs. Turpin, and then what can we look forward and how can people partner and help in this project? So we have some questions for you this morning. We're going to start with the students. We'll start here with you, Evan. Why did you take this class?
Well, I play baseball at Lebanon High School, and I knew Miss Turpin from JV baseball, and I was like, I'm going to take the class because I know her. And then I signed up for it and started taking it. I'm like, I really like this.
Yeah.
Like, I can get behind this.
So it started with the relationship with the teacher.
Yeah.
And then out of the class, it's something you've been invested in. Is this your first year? Is it a 1-year course that you're taking? Or?
Yeah, 1-year course.
Okay. I'm going to jump down to Joe. Joe, tell me about why you took the class.
So I have a funny story with this. I accidentally signed up for this thinking it was something else. I thought it was career experience, and then a couple days in, I'm like, oh, I like this. It's pretty cool, and I tried to stick with it, and I'm glad I did.
So accidentally fell into the course, but it's been something that's been a good experience for you so far.
Yes,
We're
sir.
a quarter in, and you're still not wishing to go to career experience, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then Grace, how about you? What drew you to the course?
I kind of just took it to learn more about the community around us, that things you might not realize that are going on, and it's just helping me learn more about people around me.
Okay. So we'll go with Joe here on this next question. What have you done so far in the class that stood out to you, and why was that something that kind of stood out as something that was important?
So once a month, or about once a week, we go down to the food pantry, and we unload trucks and stock shelves, and it's been really cool to provide that to the community. Things like that, to know what we're doing is giving back to them, even if we don't see it.
That's awesome. So have you been able to interact with anybody there, or is it just behind the scenes stocking the shelves?
More so behind the scenes right now.
Okay. What's something that stood out to you in the class so far, Grace?
Probably when we went to Family Promise and learning about the rooms that all the churches and organizations have adopted, and just how they're making an impact by providing those rooms to people.
What is Family Promise?
It's like an organization that is providing for people who might be homeless or experiencing that. It's really cool.
Okay, great. And how about you, Evan?
I'm gonna piggyback off what Grace said. When we went down to the Family Promise building, which is the hotel they renovated on 42,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of jaw dropping just to see like what people in Lebanon are doing for our community. So
Is that the old Shaker Inn there
Shaker Inn,
on
yep.
42? I've been wondering what that was as I drive by and saw those renovations. And so, do you have anything to offer about that program, Ms. Turpin, in terms of what that is?
It's formerly IHN, Interfaith
Okay.
Hospitality Network, and it is an organization that we've worked with for a number of years, both in service learning and in my adulting class. One of the adulting skills that we practice is putting together IKEA furniture. Because if you're an adult, you need to
There's
know
no
how to put
instructions.
together.
There's just a picture and an arrow.
Yeah. So the furniture that we make in adulting class, we have always donated to the homeless shelter so that when they help people find their own place, they can go shopping in the warehouse and take brand new furniture home with them. So it's been a relationship we've had for quite a while. We are excited about their new venture into the Shaker Inn, and they don't even know this yet, but yesterday we were assigned room number 26.
That's
so
awesome.
The Lebanon Service Learning class is going to be adopting a room, which means we will totally renovate it and be looking for help and donations from the community for that. And the kids are going to put the muscle work into it. So we are officially room 26.
That's awesome. I think one of the things over the years I've seen when students get engaged and they begin to realize, like, were you guys even aware that where the food pantry was or what IHN was prior to this course?
no.
I think the realizing that there's all of these opportunities in a community that you grow up in and you have these circumstances and things, but you're not even aware what's happening down the street sometimes. And so it's a great benefit of this course and one of the great partnerships we have. And so we'll start with Grace on this question here. As you look forward, it's a semester-long course. Is that so you've got a quarter left. What are something that you're looking forward to that's coming up that maybe you haven't done yet, but you know it's happening?
Well, now the room.
Now
That's
the room.
really exciting.
That's good news.
Yes, we were really hoping we could get a room because that's something we all, I think as a class, we're really excited to work on. So I'm really excited to start working on the room.
That's great. How about you, Evan?
I gotta say the same thing. Like the class, they all seem super enthusiastic and like want to help, and like they're all trying to go out into their own lives and get their own help from parents, people they work with. So yeah, I would say that.
Great. Anything else that you're looking forward to that you think's coming up that'd be exciting?
I'd say the room, and at the end of the semester, we get to give a checkout. It'll be really cool to do that, to see the impact that we give on whatever nonprofit we choose to do.
Okay, so I think that's one of the things we want to. I want to focus on from your perspective is you're working towards. Each one of you has a project. Is that inaccurate? Is that something that's the check that you talked about? What does that mean?
So at the end of the semester, we're all going to come together and choose one nonprofit to donate that check to.
Okay. So how have you been raising funds for that over the? Is that something you've been working on, or?
So we don't raise the funds. We're giving the check. It's a $1,000 grant. It's given through Magnify Giving, which was created by Roger Grind, as you said. We'll talk about later. But he grants $1,000 grants to local Cincinnati schools and Northern Kentucky schools. So people in different communities can give to different nonprofits, so he doesn't have to do all of it, and he can like empower the next generation.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what I talked about at the beginning that I think this is a great example of what it looks like to build community. We're always looking for examples of what that mission statement means, to put some flesh to it. And so, as you think about what this program means in strengthening the community or building community, does anybody have anything they'd like to ask or offer in terms of what this has meant to you as a student looking at the community as a whole?
So before this class, I didn't know I thought Lebanon was perfect. I thought it was, just the dome around Lebanon. I thought it was just perfect. But now, that I took this class, I didn't even know we had a food pantry in Lebanon. So we go and help these people out, and it just shows that, you don't see this stuff, but you need to help build that stuff so you have a community.
Good. What about you, Joe?
So I'm looking forward to seeing the impact we leave in the future students that take it to like the kids we interact with throughout the day, and leaving that like impact to continue to like build up things like go to the food pantry once a week and the nonprofit, things like that.
Yeah. Grace, anything else to add to that?
Yeah, kind of like what they said. I feel like we're just strengthening our community, knowing that people who have hit like a rough spot know that they have people supporting them, and I really like just being able to help them go through that.
Yeah, I think this is a great lesson. I was talking to Mr. Butler before I came over here this morning, former high school principal that was instrumental in starting this this program, and he said, "I wish every kid could take this class." You know, obviously there are limitations to scheduling, but you know, in terms of just getting them an awareness, opportunities. And we think these are the types of things that make us better as a district, that ultimately makes us better as a school. So I want to thank the three of you for the effort you've put into this so far. I'm excited to hear some of the stories. We'll maybe, as she touches on some few questions here, I may drop back in and ask you guys something. So I want to shift my attention to Mrs. Turpin this morning. And as you looked at this and you created a class, right? Like, we talk about service learning, and sometimes it's hard to grasp. Like, what is your vision of what service learning is and what you're trying to help kids understand?
It has morphed clearly since it started, as hopefully everything does. But my original picture of it was to have some time to do the classroom learning. These kids will earn a community service seal toward graduation. They will earn the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal, because just because a company is a nonprofit doesn't mean that it's not a company.
Yeah.
And they are working closely with some executives at the nonprofit, so they will be able to use that as part of their Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal. They will also have an opportunity, and we haven't really touched on this yet, but they will have an opportunity to earn a leadership credential as well. So that all gets kind of blended into this class. And then the learning or the service part of it is something that's just kind of a natural outgrowth. You know, you talked about making Lebanon a better community. And one thing that I have seen in the time that I've been at Lebanon, I started here in 2006 and then started teaching in probably 9 years ago, maybe, is you literally, and I have seen it in some of my classes, you may have a young person who I know's family are millionaires next to a kid that could be at the homeless shelter, sitting next to each other in class. And I think the empathy for one another grows. Would you say that empathy is something?
I would agree.
Yeah. I think that awareness, that empathy and awareness is something that you know, we all look for ways to help kids understand, right? Like to get out of the bubble, as Evan talked about a little bit there, and that they get to experience this as a junior or senior in high school, and they're further ahead than others who don't get that experience until they leave home, whether that's college or moving out in other ways.
So we do the service learning part, and then I know you have mentioned magnified giving, and that to me is kind of the cherry on top. We had already started the service learning project. I had sat down with Mr. Butler and we worked through things, and then magnified giving actually came to Lebanon to see if there was a spot of students that they could work with and give this $1,000 grant so that the students could experience giving of their time, talent, and treasure. Mr. Butler didn't ask me to that meeting because my class was so new. He had totally forgotten about it, that would be a good fit. And as soon as the meeting was over, he said, "Oh, I didn't even think to ask you." And so I called them up and we got started with Magnified Giving. It's a quality organization, and their goal is the same as mine, to grow the philanthropists of tomorrow, to help these kids, these young people, see the value of the different types of people in the community. And if some of them need a leg up, help them up, you know, and you've got what it takes to do that.
What are some of the programs? We talked about the food pantry. We've talked about the Interfaith Hospitality Network. Are there some other programs that you that the kids are involved with that just making awareness this morning for things that are in our Lebanon community?
In years past, we have been, I think I have a list of about 40 different nonprofit organizations where we have contributed either time or talent, or time and talent or money, the check at the end of the year. And this year, our huge focus is going to be with with Family Promise. So that is going to, you had mentioned the smaller projects, and what this group has decided to do is band together and do that room as a large group. So we won't be maybe reaching as many nonprofits this particular semester, but normally we work with 3 or 4 or 5 different nonprofits during a semester.
Okay, that's great. What are there any past projects that stand out to you of something that really was special and caught your attention?
Yeah, we had a young lady who, 3 young ladies who really wanted to work with what is now Safe on Main, used to be the Abuse and Rape Crisis Center. And of course, in most of the areas with nonprofits, you deal with a lot of confidentiality. And so that's another lesson that we learn is you can't go home and say, oh, I saw Johnny at the food pantry today. That's just, it's not appropriate. So they learn respect out of that. And these 3 young ladies wanted to work with Safe on Main, and they came up with a really cool, very simple project of giving them a flower every Friday. And they would take the flower over to the director, and then she would take them over to the house, because of course we can't even know where the house is to keep the survivors safe. And we found out that she had left a note that the girls wrote and a flower on an end table. And a woman came back. She had been out with her abuser. They didn't know. And when she came back, she was going to pack her stuff and go back to him. And she saw the flower and the note and decided to stay in the program. And that literally is a lifesaver. It just almost it chokes me up to talk about it. But things like that happen. Young people like this make that kind of difference. If they know they can do that,
And it didn't have to be something huge, right? That's the other lesson here is
Right.
this doesn't have to be something huge. You think about $1,000 for a philanthropist who's doing this all over. That $1,000 here in Lebanon can go a long ways when people are willing to put their time and their effort to it. And I think it's been, I'm excited to see what was it, Room 26?
Room 26,
I'm excited to see what Room 26 will look out to be. So make sure you invite me over to Room 26 sometime. Anything else about the course that you think is worth sharing this morning?
I wish everybody could take it. It really is, it's last bell of the day, the last 2 bells of the day. So some of our seniors who are used to getting out early, the ones who do take it are glad they did.
Yeah.
And it just really, it's life-changing. It's going to be most likely what you write your senior essay about.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I wanted to just say this to Joe. I think sometimes things feel like accidents, right? I hope that you realize that that this course, you were there on purpose.
Yes,
and it was an accidental, mistake there. But I think it's something that hopefully you have the opportunity to share with other people the benefit of the course and something that it's a difference it's made in your life. Anybody else want to share anything this morning before we wrap this up? I really want to thank you for your time. Appreciate your insight into this program. I'll be honest with you, Mrs. Planica, our communications director, said, "What about service learning class?" And I was like, "What is that? I got to learn about it, right?" This is something that's new to me as well, and I really appreciate your guys' information, your insight in this program. If anybody's watching this and you want to be involved in some way and help support the program, reach out to me at Central Office, reach out to Ms. Turpin at the high school. We would love to get you involved in what's going on. So we just want to take time every month to focus on what's happening in our buildings, to highlight programs that that go beyond the classroom learning of reading, writing, arithmetic, and the things that we think of as school. At Lebanon High School and in all of our buildings, we have programs that we believe exemplify building community inside of our buildings, peer-to-peer groups, peer support groups, but also when students get outside of our buildings, we go into the community and they make a difference. And one of the things we want this to be is a partnership. Right? We ask so much support from our community, and you guys have been extremely generous and faithful in that way as a community. But we hope that we can teach kids and create a culture in which they look and say, what can I do to benefit my community going forward? As an adult that looks at the world that way myself now, because of some experiences I've had similar to these along the way, I wish I would have learned that in high school. I wish I had the opportunity to think like, what is outside that I can be involved with that makes this a better place to be? So I just want to thank the folks at Lebanon High School for creating this program. Thanks, Ms. Turpin, for your leadership and your creation of this.
My pleasure.
We hope that you've got something out of this as a class and as a group of students, and our community watching. We hope this is something that that you can say, I am proud to support that program, or I want to be involved in helping make that better. At Lebanon City Schools, we have amazing programs and opportunities for our students, and service learning class is just one of those. And we believe that each time we highlight one of these programs, it advances our cause of building community and makes Lebanon City a better place to live, to work, to be a part of. So on behalf of Lebanon City Schools, I want to thank you. On behalf of Lebanon City Schools, I want to thank our community for allowing us to come alongside of you and support you in this way. This wraps up our October episode of Onward Lebanon. I want to thank Joe Hackman, the folks at Lebanon City Channel 6, the guys behind the camera this morning for doing a great job keeping us in line, and also for our community. Thank you for your generous support of Lebanon City Schools and all that we do to make this a great place to work, to live, and to learn. Thank you. Have a great day.